What is up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mug. The baby's down for a nap, so that means it's time for me to get some hobbying in. And what better place to do it than here with all of you on YouTube, live streaming it. We're gonna go until this timer runs out in the hourglass. And if we get interrupted because the baby wakes up, then that's just gonna be the way it is. But I'm going to try to get as much of this done as possible. Oh man, I just realized like I'm working on some of these and they're really taking to the super glue, but I have to make sure that I'm pressing them in. So these are all miniatures that I purchased on Etsy, and I think some of them are Highland miniatures, but some of them are also just random mix of miniatures from different companies that produce alternative sculpts. So I'm building them up really as Empire for the old world game that Games Workshop is rumored to be building because we really haven't had any substantive updates from them, save some model releases. But it would be good to see some more articles on their Warhammer community. So I'm going to just build, we're just going to go through these and build as much as we can. And I'm going to talk about what I'm using and what I'm doing. And then when the timer runs out in the hourglass, that's when you know we're going to wrap it up. There's nowhere to really place this feather. I want to place it somewhere so I could take my hand away so I could put some Bob Smith Industries Instaset on it. But oh man. Hope you guys are doing well out there. It is Monday. It is cooler. It is finally autumn here where I am. Maybe I'll just leave it there for a second. Hit it with the Bob Smith. And that means it's actually getting cooler in the morning. So I have to actually wear my house slippers around the house and some close the windows so the draft doesn't get in. But it's good. I love this weather. This is the best kind of weather that you can have here in California, where just a couple weeks ago it was up in the hundreds still. I don't remember. Okay, so I've got a bunch of these that we're going to be hopefully working our way through. I don't remember exactly how many of what I ordered. I had actually picked these up from, I think, before the summer painting challenge, and I just had to keep it on the side because I was working through so many other projects. But now that I can really focus on my Heroes of Hobbyton project, that's what we're going to be working on. And as you can see, these are all archers, or Warhammer alternative archers. I'm also hopefully going to be building these flying mounts. You might have seen my last video where I talk about how Mr. Sprinkle has earned himself through his donations to my studio. He's upgraded his avatar from being on horseback to getting a flying mount. So these aren't Pegasus Knights, if you could see. We'll close up on the miniature itself. They're more like, I don't know, flying cats or dogs. What would you say this is? Interesting looking face. It's almost, oh, you know what? It's almost like a deer, like a stag, but then it's got claws like a griffin. But I think these guys also come with antlers, so they're going to be really fun to paint up and build up. And they also come with decorative bases like rubble that they're going to be on. So I'm really happy for Mr. Sprinkle. I think he's going to really love these mounts, and they're all different too. Unlike the Games Workshop horses, which are kind of similar, you only get really one horse sculpt, even as Pegasus. These flying mounts look terrific. Oh yeah, I got to remember I'm in portrait mode. I'm not in landscape mode, so I'm going to show them off. But we'll get to these later on in the stream. For now, we're going to keep building up our archers. And you might have seen I did a video on these archers before. They are so simple to build compared to the old Games Workshop hunters and bowmen. These is literally just put a little bit of super glue because they're resin. Remember, we don't super glue, or we don't plastic glue with resin. Super glue right in the neck, then put the head on, hold it for a second, and you're done. So we're gonna get through as many of these as we can. If I see the lady boss calling, or if I hear my baby screaming, then I'm gonna have to cut it short, but we're gonna see how far we get, and hopefully we get all the way to the end of that hourglass marker there, right there. So, exciting times. The summer painting challenge is over. I'm working on these Heroes of Hobbyton miniatures because I want to start the Heroes of Hobbyton, get all the groundwork laid for them for the game itself, and then I'm thinking I'm gonna actually move the start date just so that it's clean across the board. I'm gonna move the start date to January of 2024. I think that's the cleanest way to do it. Have all the rules set up so that new patrons who get into the game now can kind of get a feel for the timing of it, and then it'll also hopefully give us some time to get into the old world. Hopefully Games Workshop has released more about the old world, so that's going to be something everybody can look forward to. And I'm really excited to see more information about that, because I'm going on just the scraps that they're feeding us through the Warhammer community articles. So we know so far that their base sizes have bumped up from 20 millimeters to 25 millimeters. And this guy looks like he's not finished. This head looks like it's not done. It's like no back of the head there. That's weird. Yeah, when you have to work with Etsy products that you purchase on Etsy, and there's no real quality control because everything is, really left up to the discretion of each vendor. What is this, middle school? Ouch. Super glue on my fingers. We're talking about potentially going into the Bay Area. My son's 2-year-old birthday is coming up. So that's another thing I have to look forward to this month. Definitely want to get as much done and as much off the plate before then as I can. I finally found a tutorial that I want to replicate for my Sentinel. That's been holding me back. Painting of that Astra Militarum Sentinel has been a thorn in my side ever since the end of May. It's the only thing that's keeping me from really finishing that Astra Militarum project. And I want to get it done so that I can put the models up on eBay, get them sold already. It's really just how I'm planning on doing all of my projects moving forward. Paint them up, showcase them on YouTube, hopefully do some tutorials to help people out and get everyone interested in painting them, and then send them on their merry way to a loving home that will put them on the tabletop. Man, we are plowing through. See, if we had to build all of these up, like those old Games Workshop miniatures for the Empire, then we would be looking at putting torsos to legs and then trying to finagle the arms of each archer. This is perfect. All we're doing is putting the heads and angling them so we could see which way they're looking, and then holding them in place long enough so that we can set them down and move on to the next one. This is how model assembly should be. Now, you might notice we're running out of heads. I don't like that. And this one head of this guy is kind of cut off, so it's not even a complete head. And that means I get to go diving for bits in my old bits boxes. So see, I'm not sure if this vendor, whoever I bought this kit from on Etsy, if they just didn't realize that they're not packing the correct amount of items. I've got 2 headless archers here, or if they're all here but packed into a bunch of these other plastic bits or plastic bags. So we're gonna set this Emperor head on the side, and this is it. We're done. How much we got? 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, and then 2 extras. So we're gonna let them dry, set them on the side here, just push them back. Woo! Let's build up piles. Build up piles of miniatures as we're working our way to the flying mounts. What do we have here now? This was a big order. I think I got a good discount, which is why I ordered so much. But now it does mean that I'm gonna have to be opening each one because there is no receipt. I opened the box and all of these little plastic baggies just fell out, and there was no receipt to show what I had purchased. I'm just looking, oh boy. What is this? This might be some great swords. Make sure you get all the bits out of these plastic pop-pops. Yeah, great. Oh, look at that. A knight. So they're all mounted. Mounted knights. Very cool. Holding double-handed weapons. This is great. So for obviously I chose this because when my avatars, my patrons of Warboss Taste Studios, when you donate up past a certain amount, oh look, he's got a bendy sword. Fine cast. Then you're gonna be upgraded from just a knight on foot to being on horseback. So I was looking at different knight figures, trying to find which ones I thought were the most interesting. And I settled on these. Now, the question is how many weapons options am I going to be able to use? There are a lot in here. You've got guys with lances, bent there. Okay, so this is how you know you're gonna have to do some work because this is resin, which means that if you want to bend these back, you're not gonna do it straight away. The resin is also hard, it's brittle. What you gotta do is take some hot water, not boiling, just hot water, soak these in the hot water, and then just gently push them into the new position. Something I remember doing quite well. All right, so first things first, we'll take a look at the knights that are already pretty close to finished. They just need heads. All right, if they are lacking weapons or hands or arms or anything else, we're gonna set them aside. But if all they need are heads, we'll set them here at the top. If they're missing hands and weapons and arms and heads, we'll set them down here on the side. These guys remind me of the Rakesguard Knights from Games Workshop. They're fully armored. Their helmets are these plumed, closed steel helms. So yeah, definitely meant to be Rakesguard alternatives. And then here's the captain with the bendy sword. Ah, it's terrible. All right, so this guy's already finished. He's the bugler. Looks like all he's missing is a shield, so we'll attach one right away, and then he will be done. Easy. One down. That's what we like. I'm actually going to go with... Should we go with the cross shield or something different? Yes, a cross shield with the laurel looks pretty interesting. Then you gotta have it tucked into the right position and the right angle. When working with shields, I remember when I was building Empire models earlier with shields, there's a way to angle them so they look natural, like he's actually got his arm through a arm strap. So I want to do that and not have it look unnaturally positioned. All right, it looks like the captain here is also missing a shield, so we will do let's do this one. I've got the new Cities of Sigmar box. I've just been waiting to find the right time to unbox and work on that stuff. It's probably going to be taking a back seat just because there's so much that I have to do to get ready for Heroes of Hobbyton. All right, and then these guys, I think they just need heads. So let's do a big plumed helmet for our standard bearer, and then another one for this guy here with the double-handed. It's great, this banner bearer. The difference in quality from one Etsy merchant to another is so great that it really doesn't make sense to unbox these miniatures and do a video review, because what I got could be totally different from what somebody else would get. There's just so much variation in technique and the materials, the resin that people are using to produce these miniatures. Gotta lean forward just a little bit. Hit it with the Bob Smith. There you go. So, I mean, I was lucky with this one. I made a big order and it was a gamble, right, to get that, to get those savings. It was a gamble because I could have gotten a vendor that cut corners or used poor quality materials. Like, this resin is pretty good. It almost looks like Games Workshop plastic. You can still tell it's not exactly that durable, obviously with all the bent weapons and everything, but I'm still pretty happy and relieved with how it came out. I think after I ordered this one, it came out to over $100, but I've got so much stuff. All those archers you saw, these knights, comparable if I would to purchase them from like Games Workshop back when they were doing Empire miniatures. I think it would probably have cost me more than a couple $100 just because of the amount of miniatures that I've gotten. So I'm excited to get going. Let's see, if somebody was riding a horse, would he be holding a two-handed sword up? See how the lances look. Some of these lances are straight, they're not bent. So this looks like a mixed arms unit, which is good. Maybe I'll have him charging forward. Well, he wouldn't be lifting his hand like that, right? If he was holding a lance, it would be more like holding it up if he was riding. Here, let's have him with a sword. It's funny the different mental gymnastics you go through. Yeah, that's a good angle. The mental gymnastics you go through when you're posing your models for assembly. It's like, that doesn't look natural. How would he even be holding that up? I've just I've rediscovered my love for Japanese green tea as a substitute for coffee. I'm like really addicted to coffee. I love coffee, and we got last Prime Day, which was in July, we had purchased this espresso machine that I absolutely love. It can make espresso and coffee. I don't think it can make a latte, but what it does is you can also froth your milk with it. It's really great, and I've been using it like too much, and I think it's been giving me the jitters. So when we were digging around through the pantry, and we found this Japanese green tea that I used to really love. I've fallen in love with it again. I think some of these, maybe I might, these blank shields, I'm gonna see if I can dig up some old transfers. The Empire had transfer sheets, didn't they? I think they did. I seem to remember that they did. Yeah, look, this guy's got his arm tucked under. This is a lance holding arm. So we'll do a shield here. Oh man, I was getting, okay, so I made a little mistake here, being overzealous with my application of the super glue. Super glue on resin takes a little bit of time to adhere. I've been using this Bob Smith Industries, which is insecure for super glue, and it's been spoiling me. And now I've got 3 puddles of super glue, one for the head, one for the lance, and one for the shield. And if I spray the shield with the Bob Smith super glue insta set, then it's going to make all of those super glue areas get super hard and set. So I'm going to need to make sure everything is ready to go before I hit it with the Bob Smith. All right, and 3. This is going to be the tricky one. Wonder if I should wait until I've actually got them on their horses. Nah, this is fine. Nah, it's fine. I hate oof. Hate getting my fingers stuck. It's super glued in place. Okay, here we go. Done. Looks good. I could even use this as a rider for my flying guys here, just to check the angle of this the lance. Yeah, this is gonna look great when I've got all the pieces ready to build up those flying mounts. They're not, like I said, they're like deer. They're like flying stags. I like that. It's not they're not like Pegasus. A little bit of flash on some of these models, so I'll go in later with the hobby knife and take care of those. Yeah, I like this. They're not all uniform, so we can keep them spaced out. And they're going to look interesting when they're being used for the Heroes of Hobbyton game. I think I might need to buy some more of this Insta set. All right. Now, like this guy's got a club, or a mace rather. So my son is into Bambi. Oh, it's this guy. Hey, Dr. Torlin. My son is really into Bambi now. So he loves the beginning. He loves man, when Bambi meets all of his friends. And every time he gets to the part where him and his mother are foraging for grass in the frozen field, oh, it's hard. Then I start wondering, like, is my son too young to watch Bambi? Probably. He's probably too young to watch anything. He's not even 2 years old yet. But he is like really good at recognizing things on the screen now. And since he's being more vocal, he's talking more. He says like Bambi and Bambi Mama and Bambi Dada. Like he recognizes mothers. I think that's really interesting. Oh, look, this guy's got a little bit of a pot belly. Dad bod night. Respect. Happens to the best of us. I used to do theater, like community theater when I was a kid and into my young adult years. And one of my friends, one of my mentors in acting and community theater, told me once, he's a couple years older than me, and he said, like, you never realize how great you have it until you turn like 40 and then you get the dad bod. And I think at the time I was like 20 something, and I was like, ha ha ha, ha, yeah. He's like looking at himself in the mirror and he's like, man, I never used to have this little gut. And I was like, ha ha ha, yep, happens to all of us. And now I feel his pain. You really got to keep in shape. I saw this one really great exercise where it's basically like your feet are going side to side, and then you're like windmilling your arms over your head from left to right. And everybody's saying like you do this 200 times a day, it'll lift your organs up. It'll make you feel good and energized, and you might lose weight too, like you'll lose some pounds, because you're just doing this repetitive exercise over and over, but it's also giving you the benefit of, like, you know, lifting your internal organs. Anyways, I mentioned that because I tried it. I didn't do 200 because, man, I'm really out of shape. But just after trying it once, I was so energized. Like, I washed all the dishes. I was picking up all the toys. I felt really great. So I should try it. Try that out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. That's the thing with us hobbyists, modelers, anyone who's working hunched over a hobby table like this, you have to take care of your health. You have to. Otherwise, you're going to burn yourself out, especially if you're putting in long hours. Eating healthy is also a big part of being healthy. Exactly. What you put into your body, like your nutrition, you really can't take that stuff for granted. I used to say, like, I'll just eat whatever junk I want to, and then I'll just make up for it by running or something. You can't do that. Like, you need good fuel. It's like, imagine if you're fueling your car up with junk gasoline. You can't do that. Energy drinks are bad. That's the thing. When I used to work at FedEx, energy drinks were my like go-to staple. I couldn't really drive with hot coffee, which is what I usually drink. So I would stop in at 7-Eleven or anywhere, and I would get Rockstar energy drinks every time I stopped to get gas, every single day. And that added up like 2 or 3 times a day because I was exhausted. That job that I used to have, and then to come home to do all my daddy duties, and then to try to run a YouTube channel where I'm not like slumped over, falling asleep after a couple seconds. Like, it's impossible. I was like, oh, I'll just pick up a Rockstar while I'm here. And that's in the morning, right, when I leave the station. And then it becomes, oh, you know, it's afternoon time. I should probably grab another Rockstar. And then, like, all day, day in and day out, it was so unhealthy. So when I stopped working at FedEx, I stopped drinking energy drinks. I didn't need them anymore. But then I turned to coffee, which I thought, I'm getting this single source coffee, which is really good. I'm not worried about, you know, bad quality ingredients. The coffee is good. Single source means that they don't, my wife explained this to me, like, you have to look at where your coffee's coming from, or it's just as bad as eating or drinking junk. But the coffee that I was drinking, single source coffee, is really good for you. It comes from one farm. It goes like cuts out a lot of the middlemen in the process of getting your coffee into your cup. Let's do one with this lens up. The only trick with that is if you overdo it, then it's just as bad as drinking bad ingredients. Like, you have to, everything in moderation, as they say. So yeah, welcome to the War Boss Tay Healthy Dads show. Stop eating big meals like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe try smaller meals during the day. Yeah, I heard that. And we were watching this thing on, I think, Netflix. It said about longevity, blue zones. And one of the things they learned in Okinawa, I believe it was, that you should stop eating when you're 80% full. Hey, Playa, glad I caught the stream. What's up, Julian Speed? So, Cities of Sigmar. Cities of Sigmar. It's actually, like, I've been flipping through the book, and there are some interesting things about it, like besides the artwork. What I really like, what drew me into the old world setting was the empire, right? Each of the different locations having different characteristics and feel and fluff. And that's what I kind of like about this. Each of your, besides playing color schemes, each of these locations have their own character, which they've been building over the past couple of years since they've blown up the old world. And I'm really hoping that they continue making this its own thing. And like, I'm glad they're bringing back the old world. I think that's what they needed to do to make things right. I wanted to show off the assembly guide. I had taken that out because I wanted to look at it. I hear you. I remember your State Troop tutorials. So, okay, that's, yeah, thank you. Julian Speed, I want to do that with this box. I feel like you can do some interesting color schemes with all of these. Like, people want, now that these models are out, basically what I'm saying is people want to know how to paint them, right? And people want to know how to get the colors that they see so that they can replicate that for their own collection. And when you have a game system like Warhammer Fantasy, where the Empire is very distinct with its cultures and its feel and its flavors, then the color scheme reflects that. Like Sterlin's green and yellow was very based on them being located in your forests and the colors that would help them to blend in. And the fact that Sterling was like a poor province where all the nobles and the higher ups took the money and left their state troopers with almost nothing, like, was fun that you could build themed army lists and paint up miniatures where you maybe had like a lot more barefooted state troopers, or state troopers that you would like douse with grime and mud because they're poor and they're not able to wear or to wash and maintain their uniforms. Then now in this Age of Sigmar, there's just like, they have the opportunity to do that again. And so I'm excited for them to do it. I just, like, I've never really liked the old, right when they switched over to Age of Sigmar and they were doing a lot of trying to build everything out, but everything just felt like it didn't feel authentic. It didn't feel real because also they didn't really know what they were doing right at the beginning. So they couldn't have these fleshed out cities and locations, which is okay. I mean, you know, you got to work your way up to it. But I feel like they're really using the chance now to get into a stride, and they're going to say, okay, this is the feel for this city. This is how we're going to paint them, and this is how we're going to represent them, and this is, like, they're finally agreeing on the fiction and the fluff. And for someone like me, who's like, that's what interests me the most, this hobby, I think that's what we're going to gravitate to. Can you give us interesting backgrounds and stories and fluff for these models? Darth Torlin, I feel like sell all my sealed miniatures. Hey, at this point, as a father and someone who is running out of disposable income, I am right there. I've got all of these. I've got all of these miniatures that I bought and I didn't open. But now at this point, maybe I just eBay them and then I can get other things. I think it's the start of something. It's going to take a bit of getting used to. Hopefully it'll grow on us. I guess with Warhammer Fantasy, you had decades to sit with the lore. So that's it. They're lucky that the models are incredible. Oh, that's okay, Darth Torlin. Haven't built or painted in a long time. We're all working our way through the time that we have. Yeah, with Warhammer Fantasy Battle, them like kind of taking the lore of like a traditional traditional fantasy setting, and then making it grimdark and whatever, and creating their own characters and locations. I think it was a benefit to them. It was recognizable. We knew what was going on, right? You dig into what is Warhammer Fantasy about? Oh, it's about the empire of man being beset on by all sides. And the empire itself is divided politically, internally, by all of these different factions. And you've got enemies without and enemies within, and everyone wants to destroy the empire. So you've got this chance for heroes to rise up and all this stuff. It's like the classic medieval fantasy setting and story. We recognized it. It was interesting to us. And then when they put it into this Age of Sigmar, they blew that all up. And then they said, okay, this is a new setting. And we're like, okay, well, who are the heroes we can gravitate to, and who are the heroes that we can identify with? Oh, they're these like faceless, immortal soldiers in golden armor, and you never see their faces. They've always got their helmets on at the beginning, remember? And it was just like, what? Well, how do I know who's who and what's what? It's like it's a confusing time. But yeah, as you said, they're working their way into it now. Darth Torlin, I haven't built or painted. I went to a new plastic, though. You went to a new plastic, Darth Torlin? Sometimes my favorite thing to do is just like read fluff and read background, because it helps me imagine and be creative about what I want to do with an army that I'm working on. I used to say, like, I'm just going to do my own thing. I'm going to create my own color scheme, and I'm just going to not worry about how it fits into anything. And I found that as I get older, it's been a slow burn. Lumineth lore is spot on. I haven't really gotten into the Lumineth lore. I think that's something I want to do, because I know they brought back Techless, and I've seen like the models I think are pretty interesting. So I would like to check them out more. Lego. Oh, okay. Lego over miniatures. These knights are pretty cool. Can they stand up, or do I need to put them on a base? Maybe I'll just put them on the side. Oh, man. Hey, what up, Justin? Big Mac. What up? Look at that. Now we're starting to get some people in here. We got 3 whole viewers. I like these foot knights. I don't know if you guys knew this, but back in the day, Games Workshop used to have regiments of foot knights. I think they were Rakesguard on foot. Does anybody remember that, or am I imagining that? Am I from a different timeline right now? 2 Justins. I remember Rakesguard on foot being possible. I don't know, I might be imagining that. You have foot knights, and then you've got the Rakesguard mounted. Maybe that was something else. That might have been something else. There were Rakesguard on foot. Okay, Julian, I am from this timeline. Yeah, I do remember that. They're metal models, right? I just found, speaking of Darth Torlin, like maybe I'll just sell all my sealed miniatures. I just found my the Ulrich Guard. What were they called? The metal. I can't remember their name. Ulrich. Shoot, it's gonna bother me now. They introduced them in Storm of Chaos. Big, beefy guys from Middenheim. They were a small unit. We're going back to mid-90s. Sad to see them go. Yeah, all those mid-90s Storm of Chaos miniatures. Yeah, the Teutonian Guard. That's it, Julian. Yep. Yes. I got a Teutonian Guard command squad, and I was like, oh, this might be interesting for my viewers. And now I'm just like, I should probably sell these. I need money. Be cool if they made Epic 40K. That's what I'm saying. Make some War Master while you're at it. Yeah, Epic 40K. Not just Epic 30K, whatever they're calling it. I do remember at my store they had a small Epic League that lasted for a very short time. Epic 40K with Lego. There you go. Yeah, we don't need Games Workshop stuff. I was just okay, so some real talk, guys. Like every time now I go on Twitter and I see all these content creators with the advanced release copies of boxes of things. Before it didn't really bother me, like with the Lizardmen stuff. To be like, oh, thanks to Warhammer for sending me this entire Lizardmen army. I was able to paint a couple skinks, but thanks anyways. Or they got the lion. I remember thinking like, oh, that would have been nice. Man, I feel like Games Workshop has blacklisted me for all of the smack I used to talk on the Finecast debacle. That I'm like, I send them emails, I send them messages like, hey, do you think you could consider me for reviewing some advanced copies? Like, what's a guy got to do to get some advanced copies of some old world miniatures? Or first it was Cities of Sigmar. Like, I wasn't really interested in a lot that Games Workshop's been releasing, but I was like, ooh, those City of Sigmar miniatures, they look pretty good. And I said, please, Warhammer, please get me some early release copies. What do I need to do? And they don't care though. And I'm pretty sure somebody was like, who's that Warboss Tay guy making fun of our Finecast? Never give him anything. Don't answer his emails. Block that guy. Like I don't even get like a response. But I heard that from what I hear, you have to sign some papers. Like there's very strict about what you can and can't do. And when you can even say that you have some advanced copies of whatever. So even if they offered me at this point, if they said, hey, Warboss Tay, do you think you want some Bretonians? After I say, yes, of course, I would have to double back and think, like, do I want that stress and that hassle? Because a lot of people now, if you'll notice, like on Twitter especially, the content creators that are getting a hold of all these kits early, a lot of them don't finish by release day, and I think or by pre-order day. I think that's one of the stipulations. Like you have to have the models painted and ready to go. I think I'm just spitballing. I don't know for sure, but they always apologize and they say like, "Oh, I didn't get it done in time," or "I wish I could have finished these models on time." But this is, and then they show off the kit. Yeah, that Finecast stuff. Like, I get it, Games Workshop. You don't want me to advertise your stuff. I'll just have to pay for it. Like, I mean, like everybody else, we're all paying for it. So I don't mind. It also helps too because I think, okay, hear me out. This is the devil's advocate in me. If I was painting for Games Workshop, like their advanced copies of stuff, I think I would not be as critical, or I wouldn't be looking at things like as skeptically. I think that's really healthy at this point with prices being so high. I think it's important for us as gamers with limited resources, with limited time, that we start looking at these releases skeptically and not just take the word of content creators or like even the Games Workshop Warhammer community articles or everything on Twitter. Yeah, they do have a lot of problems, Justin. I think you have to decide, like, when they were first hyping up the Cities of Sigmar and they showed off all the new models and everything. It's so easy to get caught up in that hype, that emotion. I did this is the only time that I was able to not fall into that trap. Why is they made miniatures like they did in the 80s and 90s? With the Idaneth Deep Kitten. Excuse me. I I was so hyped because I was like, oh, fish elves, yes. Ocean elves, sea elves, that's always been a thing that I remember I wanted to see. Like, there were, in the old world, there were all these stories of elves that went and created outposts like right on the ocean, and they had their own culture and they had their own, because they were so far away, far removed from the the rest of the elves. Blister pack arrow was the one. Going through the packs, yeah. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll go through some blister packs. Oh, I don't have any more shields in this. That's okay. What did I do? I gave this guy a shield. Why did I do that? See, I'm so distracted. I'm not building these guys correctly. No shield for you. These are knights with double-handed weapons. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Games Workshop in the 80s and 90s was about the game. Now it's about painting competitions. The new knit sculpts look so cool. Yeah. The new Lictor, the Death Leaper, right? With that cape, that membrane cape. Oh boy. That's the thing. That's the trap we fall into, though. We see something like teased, or we see the content creators when things go up on pre-order, and we get instantly hyped because it's so easy to get hyped with good models and with the good photography and everything. Nids were your first army, Darth Thorne. I didn't know that. It's easy to get hyped and just look at the models and think, oh, that's amazing. That's what I want. And then the trouble with that is you're on a never-ending loop of wanting something and then getting it, and then realizing that the next thing that you want is coming right down the corner, right around the corner. So everything, I think, with a healthy dose, at least at this point, because I've got so many, man, I've got so many models, like all of us do. I've got so many boxes in bins, stacks and stacks of bins, that now I'm just considering selling. Even if I say, like, if my son ended up getting into this hobby, I think that the amount of money that it takes is like so much more than when we were kids, right? And we were getting into the hobby. Gonna head off. Hey, all right, Julian Speed, thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you coming by. Have a good one. And you guys don't have to sign off if you need to head out. Just thanks for hanging out, and appreciate it. I like this mixed unit of knights. It looks like some of them have double-handed swords, some of them don't. I'm probably not even building them correctly, but that's okay. Maybe they're all supposed to be. See, that's the thing. I don't know. I think whoever sent me this, whoever I had bought all these off of Etsy, just like printed everything, and then maybe when they're packing everything away, they got mixed up, because I'm still missing a wing for one of these flying creatures. I'm thinking it's in one of the rest of these packs. All right, Justin BRB. Oh, see, look, this might be it. Now what am I looking at? Tails, antlers. Oh, the riders. Okay, yeah, so you might have seen that. Set the rest of you guys up here. Mr. Sprinkle has advanced through the amount that he's been donating to Warboss Taste Studios, and so his avatar is actually going to get upgraded to be on a flying mount. And so all of these that I'm going to be building up for him, this looks a little finicky. Sorry, I'll get my big beefy hands out of the way. There's a lot of, looks like flash, but it might be bits of antlers that have broken off that I have to re-glue. You should have 3 riders and 3 mounts, flying mounts. Then always check your bubble wrap. You don't want to be missing. See, like, what is that? That looks like something. One time I ordered some miniatures from Etsy, and they came so poorly packed. They're literally like in a ball of bubble wrap, and as you open and peel it away, more little bits fall out. It's so poorly wrapped. I went through 2 layers of it, and then I just rolled it all back up. I was like, I can't even deal with this right now. This is too much to look at. All right, let's take the greats, or the knights on foot here, separate them. And I'll move this one as well. I'm gonna need to take out my Empire box and look for some spare heads. Looks like I'm missing a couple of heads on these guys. Okay, we'll get back to them. Set them here at the top. At the beginning of the stream, I said I would only stream until this hourglass ran out, but I'm doing pretty good, so let's reset it. Now let's take a look at this. Okay, this is a lot to take in. I think some of these are just flash. I'm gonna pull them away, but like, look at these antlers. I think there's probably a better way to pack them. I'm afraid that I'm gonna find a lot of these antlers broken. No build guide, of course, with these 3D models. You're just kind of on your own. So I'm gonna be looking as much as possible to take away all of the stuff I know is flash. Anything that's like looks like too straight, like ladder. They look like ladders of flash. Like that is just extra plastic we don't need. Like this, it looks too neat. So we'll just rip that off, throw those away. All right, let's get let's get to these flying guys. Warbots, how big is your miniature collection? Honestly, Justin, I don't know. I collected a lot as a kid. I sold a lot when I moved, and I think at this point, I am not even sure how much stuff I've got in bins, like in boxes. I've got a lot in my garage from the move. Got a bunch of really big, Costco-sized black bins. A lot of things are not even opened. The ones that I've painted, okay, so I know for sure the minis that I've painted. And wait, is this the underside? Yeah, the minis that I've painted and finished and are ready to be played, and that I could actually count as a finished collection. I think that's a lot smaller because of time, and like I said, we had a moving sale when we left Hawaii, so I did get rid of a lot of that. All right, how are we gonna do this? I do have 3 sets of wings, but I'm not sure how much. I think this is a good way to do it. 3 sets of wings that I think go together. So there's that. Those are good. Let's put riders. So we've got riders up here, torso and legs. I'm pretty sure they're interchangeable. Torso, or upper body rather. Legs. Interesting, like look at the harness, or okay, they're not harnesses. I thought they were harnesses, but it's just literally they're whatever they've got tied around their waist, flapping behind them in the wind. And lower body and upper body. Oh, this is breaking my heart now, guys. Look at this. This is sad. Did you move stateside or stay in Hawaii? I moved, yeah, I moved to California. First, we were in the Bay Area, and then we moved a little bit north past Sacramento. That's where we are now. Oh, man. This is sad. I kind of wanted to build everything and not worry about it, but it looks like I'm going to have to take, like, all of these weapons. Ugh. I wish I could remember who this vendor was so I could leave them a bad review. Like, if you see this, if you were a 3D printer and you're trying to sell what you're printing on Etsy and somebody spends a bunch of money for your miniatures, don't you think you would go through some kind of quality control? That's like frustrating to me. 1, 2, because like I really want to show these miniatures off. 3, then their tails. Okay, here we go. And then a hand on a rein, I guess. Then what are these? Hands on reins, hands on reins. And is there one more hand? There should be 3. Unless there's like another hand with reins, like I said, in another pack. See, that's even, oh man, that's frustrating. Okay, antlers, antlers, and antlers. So it looks like I'm missing a hand. And whatever this is. These small, like, these are like little tabards. Okay, we are in the same state, Warboss. Yes, that's right. I think Play It Painted mentioned that. I was talking to him, and he said, "Oh, you should drive over and see me and Dark Torlin." I was like, "Okay." Have you ever touched snow? I have. Yes, Justin, I have touched snow. I think it's great, but I wouldn't live anywhere with a lot of snow. The whole mentality of being used to living in snow is not. I don't think it's for me. But it's beautiful to visit. I would love to go to like Lake Tahoe in the winter or anywhere that is a snowy place and hang out there. Let's see, where do these fit? I believe these little, hair on my finger. I believe these little feathers are on the underside. So let's find the right stag that these go on. There we go. Boom. It's like a puzzle. These are such great sculpts. Like the quality of the resin for this merchant, I am gonna give them this. Like they look really nice. And wait till you guys see like the decorative bases that these came with. Oh, now I gotta find the other one. Let's see, this one. I'm actually working in the garage with the garage door open. Is it this one? Nope, I think it's that one. Trying to get some cool air in here because it is still like late summer. Like we're right into autumn, but it's still pretty warm in the daytime. Man, this is great. If anybody's watching this after it's gone live, like if it's already uploaded and it's a day later, then I hope you're enjoying this stream. Oh, my finger. Oh, what am I, 12? Like I used to love watching streams where I could just turn it on and just not even think about anything. I could just work on my hobby. And this is definitely one of those streams. Wonder if these tails are interchangeable. No, looks like you get the correct tail for the correct model. Yep, that's good. Like when the models are so distinct like this, I think it's really helpful when you do get the correct, like when they change the sculpt of each of the models so that they really fit the pieces they're supposed to go with. Because again, there's no guide, there's no building instructions. Where, boss? You should see the snow in Michigan. In the north, we had so much snow. 1 year trapped for 2 days. Girlfriend thought it was great. Yeah, my wife would think it was great until, yeah, trapped in the snow. She's, I don't know if my wife would be happy with that. I would love that though. I don't know about being trapped in the snow, but I do. My dad lives in Utah, so we went to visit him once during the winter when it was snowing, and we had a great time. Now, are these interchangeable? These antlers look funky. I have no idea how these are supposed to go in. I have to start thinking about when me and my son watch Bambi. How does Daddy Bambi look? Antlers back or antlers forward? How many of you know about deer? Antlers forward, right? Yeah, antlers forward. Like that, but that doesn't... Ah, my finger, what am I, 12? I mean, trapped in the house. Yeah. Oh boy. That, like, you guys weren't scared? I'd be terrified. Like, as much as I love snow and being in areas where it snowed. I remember one time when we were visiting my dad, we were sleeping over at my auntie's house, and we woke up and it was snowing outside. We weren't trapped, but I do remember really thinking like, wow, this is scary. And they're like, oh yeah, don't worry, it's like this all the time. Does that happen like every year where there's like one snow day that is really scary? That you feel like it's like you could be trapped if it snowed anymore? Yeah, I think it's something like that. Michigan. I would love to go to Michigan. All right, that's the mount, guys. I'm really glad I was able to spend this time with you. My lady boss just texted me, help for joining me. Why am I done? Okay, yeah, want to thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you in the next video. We'll try to do more streams like this all the time, all day, rest of the day, and we'll see you in the next video.